So as we're looking to build our first simple dashboard in Tableau, let's begin with a CSV file that we downloaded from Kaggle. And you can see that I've added that into Tableau. And if you're wondering how I did that, we just begin here. We've got a text file, and then I've grabbed it from my folder, in my case of sample data sets. And you can see that the CSVs here on the left-hand side. We can have a look here at our fields and our field types, making sure that all of the numbers are in fact designated as numbers and not as strings, for example. And most of this will take place automatically. So let's go to our first worksheet. And what we're going to do is we're going to begin with a map. Because country has been automatically recognized by Tableau as a geographic field, which you can see here, geographic role, country or region. We simply have to double click on that and a map will appear. Very simple. Now what we want to visualize on here on our map is infant mortality. That's the subject of our analysis for this simple dashboard. So I'm simply going to drag that measure onto our marks card on top of color. Instantly you can see how by the different countries we have a measure of infant mortality. The higher the mortality, the darker the color. Now if we did want to go in and change the way those colors are put together, we could do that up in here. For example, you might think that because it's mortality, perhaps a red color, but I think I'm partial in this case to going with more of a gray. Yeah, that'll do the job. So we've got our map, and I'm going to give that a name. I'm just going to call that map, as you might imagine. By the way, just notice up here we've got latitude and longitude automatically added to columns and rows. And we've got infant mortality. It's okay that it's sum and not average, for example, because the granularity of the data set that we brought in is one country per row. Let's create our second worksheet now. The reason we're going to do that is even though I get a pretty good idea of mortality by country from the map, it's very difficult, for example, to quickly pick out what are the top 5 or worst 5, which is the 4th worst country for infant mortality. So let's go ahead, create a new sheet. This time I'm going to double click on infant mortality and double click on country. By default, that has been arranged alphabetically. I want to change that. So I'm going to click here on sum, and then I'm going to select sort descending. And now you can see that we've got a measure of our countries from worst infant mortality rate to better infant mortality rate. I often find these a little challenging to read when it's a column chart, so I'm going to change that to a bar. And let's just put here country. By the way, I double clicked on that tab to rename it if you didn't catch that. So we've got a map. We've got a breakdown by country. The last worksheet I want to add is a breakdown by region. So as you might guess, I'm going to double click on infant mortality and I'm going to double click on region. Now the challenge here is that with the granularity of the data set being country, we have summed infant mortality. So if there are more countries in a region than another, that will impact these numbers and you're going to get an incorrect understanding of the data. So we need to go up here, click on the drop down, measure, and change that to average. And you can see the difference that made. Again, as I showed you before, let's sort that descending and let's change that to a bar chart, and we'll call this region. So now we have our 3 worksheets. We want to build a dashboard. So let's go in here and we'll call this dashboard infant mortality, except I can't type. Bear with me. Okay. And I'm probably going to go up here and show my title. On the left-hand side, we have the sheets that we created. There's also other elements you can add to a dashboard down here, but for today's simple lesson, we won't need those. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just double click on map, and that will bring that into the view. With the others, I need to drag them where I want them. I'm not going to use any containers today, so Tableau will automatically tile these sheets as I bring them in. I want to put region at the top and country at the bottom. Just for today, I'm not going to worry about the legend. So let's just remove that. And I'm going to make that a little smaller. I go up in here and I can change this to fit entire view. Yeah, we can still read that. That's good. I've got my titles here, region and country. I don't really need to show that it's a map. I think we can all see that's a map. And I'm going to go into here under size. Now you can select auto if you want, but I'm going to select fixed size, and I typically will choose something like a 12 by 9. It varies depending on the use case, but that will suffice for now. There's some unknown values in here. For the sake of this demo, I'll filter that out. It just means that we don't have the information there to plot them geographically. So now I've got my region, my country, and my infant mortality. But you'll notice that selecting a value doesn't really do anything. We're not filtering. We want to be able to do that. So I'm going to select each worksheet and click this Use as Filter button. There, and there, and there. Now before we go any further, I'm just going to click File and Save. Make sure I don't lose my changes. This is all looking pretty good. So now let me show you how this will filter. So I can select a group of countries in here, and that will filter. Or what I can do is select a region, and you notice that it automatically zooms into the map. Let's say I'm interested in the top 5 or worst 5 countries. You can see I've zoomed in here to see those on the map, and my region has filtered accordingly. If we wanted to see the country with the best or lowest infant mortality rate, likewise, we can zoom in this way. And different ways that we could filter this. For example, we can switch the way that it's sorting on the chart. We can see that Sweden has the lowest infant mortality rate. And that's how you do that. So hopefully that was helpful. We began over here with our data. We created a map, bar chart by country, bar chart by region. We see our infant mortality dashboard, which we created really quickly and easily using Tableau. And I hope for those of you who are new to the platform that this is helpful. Feel free to get a free trial of Tableau or to use Tableau Public to explore the platform. Just one last point, by the way, I did use Tableau Desktop. That is the on-machine application that you download and install locally. It's a very similar authoring experience in the web edit via your browser. Thank you very much. Have a great day.